What's going on, everybody? So with football season just around the corner, August 2nd, I'm pretty sure, is the Hall of Fame game. And I am literally so excited. It just sucks when there's no football on TV. It literally gives you something to look forward to every week. Basically, for me at least, especially with fantasy football, I love fantasy football. It is so fun. It's just like live drafts, friends competing, and not doing anything. Like, we're literally not doing anything. But yeah, so basically with preseason coming around, I kind of want to talk about players you might not know about from, like, I'm going to do it from every division. So from every team, a player you might not know about that could have a really good preseason and hopefully earn themselves a big role on the actual team, make the 40-man roster. And yeah, so that being said, I also want to say that we have a podcast that was on this channel before, but we switched it to iTunes and Spotify because, like I said before, nobody wants to sit there and listen to some guys not see any visuals for an hour and 15 minutes. But so we put those on iTunes, the link, and Spotify. The link will be in the description below, so go check those out. That would also be great. Smash the like button on this. Subscribe if you want to know when my videos come out. Get the notifications. But yeah, to start it off, I'm going to talk about the AFC West. I'm kind of all over the place, but sorry.
Slow down. It's like you're speaking some other language.
So, the AFC West, that's the Chiefs, the Broncos, the Chargers, and the Raiders. I'm going to start with the Chiefs. The person I think, I've talked about him so much. I don't know why, I just like him so much. I really think he's going to be a great NFL player, is Mecole Hardman. And even with Tyreek Hill, like, not getting suspended for whatever reason, I guess it's okay to do that to your children. I don't think so. I think it's retarded. But even with Tyreek Hill coming back, Mecole Hardman still should be slot receiver or the number 2 receiver. Just because Sammy just can't stay healthy. That's the only reason. And I just think Mecole's better, to be honest. But if you think about those two guys, Tyreek Hill, Mecole Hardman, both super fast. Like, they got the burners. Mecole runs a 4.33, so that's pretty nice. I don't think he's as fast as Tyreek, but if you think about that offense and how it already is with Kelsey and Tyreek Hill, adding Mecole Hardman, and if those two guys are just running straight streaks or one's running a slant or something, somebody's getting open. Like, that's just how it's gonna be. Like, and I just think those two guys is gonna make it's gonna suck for the rest of the NFL, basically. They draft him in the second round, so they have high expectations for him. You don't just take somebody in the second round and not want them to be a starter. I also think it had to do a little bit with Tyreek Hill. They probably had the footage. They knew it was gonna happen. They thought he was probably gonna get suspended, and they lucked out. And now they have 2 super speedy receivers. So that's my Chiefs prediction. I think Mecole will show up in preseason. I really think he's going to be a really good NFL player. So that's somebody to look out for the Chiefs, even though they're already stacked. Next is the Broncos. And for the Broncos, I could have picked like 3 people that I legitimately think are going to do really good next season. I'm going to just say the 2 that I think are going to do good, and then the one that I actually believe in the most. Royce Freeman is one of them. He didn't really get a fair chance last year. He still had like 500 yards rushing, but with Philip Lindsay kind of taking that number 1 spot out of nowhere, being an undrafted running back, he just didn't get a fair chance. And I think with Philip Lindsay coming off an injury. What? What the f? What are you saying? Anyways, Philip Lindsay coming off an injury, that Royce is gonna get more touches. So I would look out for him. Noah Fant is another one. He's a rookie tight end.
Today, Junior?
From Iowa State, I think, or Iowa, one of those two. And he's a nice tight end. Like, he's a really good receiving tight end. So they need that, especially with Joe Flacco throwing. He needs a safety valve because he's slow as hell, and he needs to dump that ball off. So, but the guy I think is going to do really good if Joe Flacco can get him the damn ball is Courtland Sutton. So Courtland Sutton is like a 6'4" receiver. If you don't know, he played last year. Pretty much started. He's a rookie last year. He pretty much got his playing time when Demaryius Thomas got traded and when Emmanuel Sanders got hurt. But once Demaryius got traded is kind of when he moved into that one role, and Emmanuel was the slot receiver. But he only had like 760 receiving yards, I think, which is really good for a rookie. But he only had like 40 receptions. So I think being the number one receiver for that team doesn't have a whole lot of talent around them. Emmanuel's coming off injury, so hopefully he could be the same Emmanuel Sanders. I think Courtland Sutton is a guy that can get 1,000 yards this year. So just for fantasy perspective, I think you can get him really late because not a whole lot of people know about him unless you're a Denver fan. So just in fantasy perspective, I think you could draft him late. But just like NFL season wise, I think he's just gonna have like a really solid season. I think he gets more than 70 receptions, and that's hoping that Joe Flacco can get him the ball. Joe Flacco kind of struggles throwing big guys the ball. Like, look at Crabtree. Crabtree didn't do that great last year, and I thought he would, but John Brown did really good. So I feel like Flacco's more on the speedy small receiver guys. But yeah, so that's my Broncos prediction. The guy I would say to look for in preseason, just to see how he's doing. I really think he's gonna shine in preseason and make a really big impact for that team receiver wise. I don't see them going very far, but yeah. So that's the Broncos. Next I'm gonna talk about is the Chargers. So with the Chargers, there's not a whole lot of people to pick from, to be honest. So I just kind of went with Mike Williams. Mike Williams is another receiver. So that's 3 receivers. That is a big receiver from Clemson. He's super nice. Like, even last year he did pretty good. He only had like 640 yards and 40 receptions, just like Courtland Sutton, but he had 10 touchdowns, which that's pretty nuts. He was a red zone threat for sure. But I think his yards will go up this year and his receptions with Tyrell Williams gone. And I think in preseason, depending on how much he plays, he's going to be with the first group. So I doubt he plays a lot till like the last 2 games. But I think he's going to have a big impact in preseason and NFL season. So I would watch out for Mike Williams. I still think he could get 10 touchdowns, maybe even more. But I also think he could be a number 1 receiver for a lot of teams. But Keenan Allen obviously is their number 1 receiver. So I think Sutton has more of a chance to do good than Mike Williams, but at the same time Sutton has Flacco throwing to him and Mike Williams has Rivers throwing to him, so that's a pretty drastic difference in quarterback. But I still think they're gonna both have good seasons. But so the next one and the last one is the Raiders. The Raiders made a lot of moves, and one of them was Antonio Brown. So I could say Tyrell Williams, being the number 2 receiver, can go off, could have a big year. But I'm going to go defense with the Raiders because I actually believe that their rookie they drafted with a 27th pick is going to be a stud in the NFL. I think he's going to be a stud free safety, top 5 free safety in about 2 to 3 years. His name's Jonathan Abram. He's from Mississippi State. If you watch some of his highlights or just watch him in college, he hits so hard. And he has a high motor, high energy guy. He's all over the field. He's kind of like the Honey Badger for those Cardinals fans, but and I guess now the Chiefs fans, but former Cardinal. He's kind of like the Honey Badger. So in his rookie year, he's behind Carl Joseph and what's his name? The guy from the Rams. I can't think. It'll come to me. But he's behind those two. But I honestly think he could take Carl Joseph's spot. He's just so talented. He's big too. He's like 6 foot 240. So I think he earns his spot in preseason. A lot of people say preseason doesn't matter. It doesn't, but at least it's freaking football. Like, you know, but for guys like that who are trying to prove themselves and get a spot on the roster, maybe even get a starting spot, I think Jonathan Abram is that guy to watch for the Raiders. He's big time, man. I don't know. I like him a lot. So I think he can sneak in, and he's better than Carl Joseph. So he's gotta make the roster. But that's the AFC West. Next week I'll do the NFC West probably, and I'll just kind of go like that. But if you like the video, be sure to like it, subscribe to get notifications, and then comment down who out of this division who you think is people don't know about very much, even if they're the same guys I said. If you agree with me, just leave that down in the comments. But I appreciate you guys tuning in today, and peace.